Welcome to the Riot Podcast. We are the Riot, and that's where the podcast gets its name.
It's, it does have that meaning. It comes from that. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast today. Hopefully you enjoy our selection for this edition.
All right. So in the show, we talk about me getting a CAT scan. I need somebody to just tell me to man up person up.
Person, thank
you. You know what? It's fine. It's probably a dad figure to grab me and tell me to man up. Dads do that to
There's nothing to man up.
Boys.
I mean, the fact that you went and got this stuff done, they just need to figure out what's going on with you. And the fact that you went and got a CAT scan, you're dealing with it. Like, you're figuring it out. You just have to wait for them to tell you what's next.
So they're going to get back to me in a couple of days and tell me they don't know. So that's exciting.
Oh, my gosh. Please record the phone call when they say that. They're like, I want it to be like, we don't really see anything yet. So good luck to that.
Well, when I went to the doctor, they were like, doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with you. And I'm like, well, that's just great.
Thanks so much. So you'll hear more about the CAT scan part.
Okay, so we also talk Skittles, gummies, Fry's Electronics, reality, Superman and Lois. I watched Superman and Lois last night, so get our take on that. Something we found called Taxi Chaos, why Discovery Plus is a menace, PlayStation 5's virtual reality headset, and so on and so forth.
So it should be a good podcast. You guys ready for it? Are you ready for us to stop and then we start again for the podcast?
Yeah, it's my favorite part, guys.
Are we ready? Okay.
It's my favorite part.
Here we go. Thank you guys for listening today. Have a good one.
Bye.
The definition of insanity is putting the riot on again and again and expecting a better result. It's the worst of the riot on RadioU.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, this might be skewed, so whatever. But yesterday I got to go get a CAT scan. So I'll just tell you, I haven't been in the studio for a while because my doctors are like, I don't know. We don't know what your problem is. So,
and that confidence is what's led you to not being in the studio instead. Obi's been broadcasting from home.
Yeah, they can't tell me if they're like, hey, are you contagious? Are you this or you that? So why don't you just stay home? Which, it's funny, like back in the day, it would be like, forget that. But, in these trying times, that's what you end up doing. So I got a CAT scan yesterday. I've never had a CAT scan before.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So what does that one look like?
It was an open air one, so it wasn't like the scary thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, to be honest with you, I don't think the tube would have bothered me, but whatever. But it was like open air. But I felt like I went to the hospital of the future. Like, you go in there. It does. It looks like something just straight out of a sci-fi movie. Like they lay you on the table and it's like, and it takes you back in there. And she's like, close your eyes. There's going to be a bright light.
Like,
and I was like,
am I supposed to follow it?
That's what I actually thought. I was like, oh my gosh, they're killing me. They're literally going to kill me. I'm going to walk towards the light.
This is it. This is the last thing ever.
This is what my doctor didn't tell me. This is their humane way of knocking me off.
Aww.
And so it makes these, I don't know. I know this sounds super skewed, but I was just like, man, guys, this thing is awesome. It takes 3 people to run it. There's just all this stuff going on. The other thing I'll say about it is that you're like, oh, Obadiah, what's wrong? They're getting an image of my sinuses. They think that I have a sinus infection that's jammed way up in there.
Yeah,
so that's
buried back behind something, and so they can't target it, I guess would be the right term, to be able to actually get it to stop having a fever.
Yeah, so the only thing I will say, though, is the lady that was I honestly don't know if she was a doctor or a nurse or what, but, or a tech, I don't know. But she spends time talking to me, and she's like, how are you doing? And she was very kind, don't get me wrong, and I think she was trying to, be nice and be comforting.
Calm you,
but
yeah.
I walked away I think something might really be wrong. That lady.
Did she see the image already, or does it take time?
I have no idea, but she seemed even nicer / more concerned when I got up from the table, and I was like, hey, am I imagining it, or are you, what's going on? And
are you comforting me? Why are you comforting me?
I'm fine. What's happening? What aren't you
that just
telling
might
me?
be. I mean, you'd rather have someone too nice, like weirdly nice, than the other side of a doctor or a nurse when they're not as nice.
I don't disagree with you. I can tell you right now, when I went to the COVID specialist and blah, 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 they were so nice to me. And I was like, thank you for being nice. My head hurts so bad.
Please take the scan. Take the scan of it. I'll lay on the table, okay?
All I'm telling you is technology's amazing.
Aww.
Like, I don't want to be sick or whatever, but that was cool.
Well, what a big day yesterday, right? A big day.
Yeah. So, you know what? I'll tell you this. They took blood. I got a CAT scan. And you know what happens when they take blood, Nikki?
Did you go get a donut afterwards?
Heck yes, I did. Like, I am so like a child. I'm just like, it's like, we're going to take blood. And I was like, well, guess who's getting a donut?
That's what we have to. Well, I mean, you should have gotten something bigger for a CAT scan. You never had that before. You should have been able to go buy a toy.
All right, busted. I had 2 donuts.
Oh, well, then you're fine.
The worst of the worst. Are you ready? The Riot Podcast. Radio U. Radio U.
Nikki, when was the last time you went to Walmart? Were you there yesterday? Did you go this morning?
No, I think the last time, like inside or just picking up outside?
I'm gonna have to go with inside.
Inside, maybe one time, like before we did a Facebook thing, going through and getting snacks. I think around that time.
You mean that time that you and I went to Walmart?
I think so. I've been through the drive-up thing plenty of times after, but yeah, I think it's been a while since I've actually been inside.
Okay. All right. Well, Nikki, I want you to know that Skittles, they just released their gummies.
Oh, I wonder how those are. Those could be good.
Well, I don't know. They had announced, we probably even talked about them when you really think about it, because, we talk about everything. But they came from, they announced them last year, so they were going to be out in spring of this year.
Yeah.
And they are now available at Walmart as of a couple days ago, actually.
Skittles gummies.
And that's, don't they look good?
I think so. I like Skittles. I'll be fine with gummies. So I think the combination together actually sounds pretty good. Little chewy Skittles.
As someone who ate all of her gummy vitamins for a snack,
how do I think I'll fare with these? You mean, they're not going to be as nutritious as my gummy vitamins. So I think
true.
I can eat more without worry of being sick afterwards from like a vitamin overdose, but I'll eat these. These look really good.
Okay. Because there's part of me that's like, I should get these for Nikki. And then another part of me that's like, no, she can't handle the responsibility of having these gummies.
All right. So like every so often you're hungry, but you're in bed and you're like, well, I don't want to get up to get a snack. And maybe in your nightstand you had a bottle of gummy vitamins and you were like, well, I'll just have a couple. It's healthy and you're getting a snack at the same time. But no, these look good. It looks like they have the 2 different versions. So there's 2 variations of it.
Oh, they look delicious. I can eat. I'll just tell you right now that to me, I feel like I know what these taste like, and I shouldn't have them around because I will never be able to not eat them.
So the Skittles gummies, they're at Walmart. We'll have to go take a look for them. There's original, and then there's like a wild berry bag. They look like cough drops, honestly, but they would just be gummies instead of hard candy.
Yum.
That's a yes. Obi says yes.
That's a big yes.
This is Radio U's Worst of the Riot.
Depending on where you live, this may not mean a whole lot to you, but a unicorn among us has died. I'm talking about Fry's Electronics.
Fry's? Oh, I've been there in forever.
I've never been to a Fry's before. They are an electronics store that is essentially just something that you find in the West Coast.
Yeah.
Though they reached as far as Indiana. They have one store in Indiana, but they announced last night very suddenly that they are closing nationwide.
Oh, that's too bad. It'd be like kind of like a Best Buy, similar type store. But I've only been to the ones in Southern California before.
I've never been to one. I've always wanted to go. And I don't know what they've been like lately, but I can tell you that there was a time when every single day, wow, that's an exaggeration. And we never do that here.
No, but the online sales.
Frequently, they would have a sale on an item, like typically a Blu-ray that would be way, way cheap, but you could only get it by going into the store.
Yeah.
You couldn't order it online. And it was just like, oh, come on.
Well, that was sort of the fun thing about, like, if you live near a Fry's, you could go in and do that. But, I mean, with COVID, that just became impossible. So they just couldn't recover from all that.
Man, I hate that. How many... I feel like we're in, maybe this is a totally wrong read, but I just feel like we're in that second wave of things that are not, like we lost things initially, but then a lot of people have been able to kind of hang with it, make it work. But I don't know. This just feels like a big deal, okay?
Aww.
No more Fry's deals online I can't get.
So again, you're like, what's Fry's? And that just means you were in that area. But they were in 9 states and 31 stores, and they are closing down. So that's it permanently.
Well, and I just want to, Nikki, as a way of pouring one out and giving credit where credit is due, I've only ever bought one thing from Fry's. And there was a day when they had a sale, they made it available online, and I was able to get the complete, uncut, remastered, all that crap, Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, is that where you got that? Oh.
And it was normally like $90,
Yeah.
and one day, for whatever reason, they sold it for $25, and I bought it.
And that was it. So I mean, it's more like it's a weird mix. They had more stuff than just like a Best Buy would, but it was just always something nice. Oh, it's too bad they closed down.
Goodbye, Fry's. I hardly knew you, and yet I was always thankful and a fan from a distance.
Yeah, always appreciated the online sales they had.
Everything you love about the Riot, plus a handy-dandy fast-forward option. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Do you remember what I said about you're in a room alone long enough and things start to seem important that maybe aren't that important? That's what's going on in Idaho right now. David and Jennifer Rush, they're in a rush. Actually, that name is perfect for them. They have been, during lockdown / quarantine / whatever this reality is that we're living in, they've been setting out to break world records.
Oh, really?
And they...
This is how they've been staying busy.
It's like that's not it hasn't been just this time. It's something they've been doing along, but they have broken 150 Guinness World Records. They say they do it to promote STEM education. Mm-hmm. And so over the summer, they attempted a record that they thought they had actually gotten, in which they had put on the most shirts in 60 seconds. Yes. There is a Guinness World Record for how many T-shirts you can put on in 60 seconds.
They had tried that, let's see, it seems like last summer, and they managed to get on 32 shirts, but it was disqualified because for the Guinness record for this, the requirement is that each shirt has to be actually pulled down to the waist. So, like, you can't just throw the shirt on and it end up like at your chest. You have to pull it all the way down. So that was disqualified for them, and they wanted to go back and beat the record and have it qualify this time.
And lo and behold, they did it. They've been certified. And yes, it seems certifiable.
So now
joke.
They have the record, 35 T-shirts for the Guinness record. The previous one was 31, and they kept at it. So they have a video of it showing like all the T-shirts already, neck hole and armholes like ready and open, stretched out a little bit, so you could just literally pull it right over him.
It's crazy. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go ahead. I will post this on our Facebook page if you want to. And I know it sounds a little weird, but if you want to watch this man get dressed, 35 shirts, 60 seconds.
It's neat to see they have a real passion for beating Guinness records while they're at home. So it's nice that they have goals to accomplish. They enjoy doing this.
They've got goals, Nikki. Hashtag life goals.
Yes, they do. And they have the video to go with it. So you can watch them. If you go to RadioU Riot, Obi's going to post it on our Facebook page. Again, they break the record from 31 to now 35 T-shirts for the Guinness records.
It's wild. So congratulations to them. And it just goes to show you, if you haven't got it on world record yet, you're just not bored enough. You need to get a little more bored and a little more focused.
So the only thing I can't see is like the world record was 35 shirts, but in 60 seconds. That's it. 60 seconds they had to do it in.
Yeah, there's probably another record for just how many shirts you put on.
Listening to the worst of the riot is the equivalent of standing in line at the BMV. Ugh. Worst of the riot. Radio U.
Last night, Nikki, Superman was back.
Oh, you watched the new Superman show on the CW.
I watched the whole thing, start to finish.
You did?
Of course, I started a little late, about 8:20, with the intention of not having to watch commercials. And I'm happy to say that I saw no commercials.
Was it an hour or 2 hours long?
It was 90 minutes. And I guess there was some special that was on afterwards, and I didn't watch it.
Okay, so you just watched the first episode.
I'm usually someone that's very interested in behind-the-scenes stuff. And I was like, you know what? I don't know why. But last night I was like, yeah, I don't care. Whatever.
Well, I mean, you watched the show. So technically you did what you set out to do. You could always watch the after special later.
Yeah, but you know what? I really liked it.
Yeah?
I really liked it. And that makes me nervous, of course, because that means that either it's not going to be able to be that good all the time, or because I like it, it's destined for an early death.
Well,
I don't know which.
If you're not, like a longtime Riot listener, you might not know, but every time Obi likes something, it doesn't end up doing well. Now, there are some exceptions. There are a few things here or there that have mass appeal, and even if he does like it, it's not like The Mandalorian or WandaVision's going away anytime soon. Like, he can't bring that down. But if he doesn't like something, that's when it tends to just really take off, and he's not getting into it until like years down the road when he finally does. So Obi sometimes is a way to gauge if something will take off or not.
They call me the harbinger of failure, and I didn't make that up.
Well, Superman, though, I think can hold its own. So I don't know if, like I said, I don't think you can bring that down, but I guess we'll have to see how the numbers are for it.
Yeah, I don't know where this thing's going to end up landing or how good it's going to be or, where it goes from here. It was funny to me talking to my circle of friends, my tight circle of friends. None of them watched it. And they are all people that I would have expected to be tuned in watching last night. But talking to other people, I did hear from a lot of people who did watch it. And the people who watched it really liked it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited for another episode. I was genuinely surprised by how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah, so it's Superman and Lois, and that was on CW, and that was the very first episode last night. So if you watched it, you can talk to Obi about the show.
Yeah.
In case there's no one else that you have that watched it, you guys can at least talk to each other about if you liked it or not.
I think some people weren't happy with the fact that it dealt a lot with, the emotions of being Superman and his relationships kind of behind the Superman thing. But I just thought it played out super well. Not every episode has to be, him keeping the moon from crashing into the world.
The Riot really wanted to do this live, but now they can play video games and eat rice cakes instead. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
It's funny. Nikki and I were talking off air about something that I think we all wrestle with. Maybe I wrestle with it more than other people. I don't know, but I do know this. Sometimes I feel like it's hard for us to maintain touch with reality. And you're like, oh, here he goes. He's on it. No, it's not drugs, guys. Listen.
Hang on.
Okay, hang with me. So we watch TV and movies, and we know that what's being presented is not real. But then we also spend time on social media, and sometimes we know it's not real, but it's kind of real. It's et cetera, et cetera. And so we're constantly being presented with these images that in a lot of ways just don't bear out in reality. And I think that even though we know they're not real, I think that you and I are not really designed to process images the way that we do. I'm not saying we can't. I'm just not sure it was the original intention. And as a result, we see things that in our top brain, we're like, this is not real. But somewhere down in our bottom brain, we're like, oh, no, that's real. Like, that's happening. And so then we take this fake reality that we're constantly kind of consuming and then compare it with the reality that you and I face day to day. And I think it's the discrepancies that sometimes drive us a little nuts. So, like, for example, why doesn't my life look like that life? Why doesn't my body look like that body? Why doesn't my hair look like that hair? Why don't I have an apartment that's that large? You know, like, just whatever it is. And I think it drives us to frustration, depression, discontent. I mean, I think there's a long list there. And I can't unplug. I know some people are like, well, if that's true, then why are you still doing it? Yeah, I know. I'll just move in a cabin in the middle of nowhere and sell the wood I'm chopping down. I don't know.
Well, I think like you were saying, you face that kind of everywhere. So no matter where you turn, you're just going to keep seeing those images. And sometimes it's hard to tell your brain that, it's not going to have to be that way. It doesn't always match up with what your life is.
That's why I seriously, I think a relationship with God is so vital, because spending time with God, unplugging, getting quiet, talking to him is a way for us to be grounded in actual reality. And there are times when I will look at my life or maybe, compare my life to somebody else's online. And it's like, God, why can't my life be like that? And God's like, their life's not like that, son. Come on. I mean, I can just feel God working with me. So look, if you need some help staying plugged into reality, I will tell you to unplug a little bit, but plug into something else. And that relationship with God has been a big help to me in these weird, unreal times that we find ourselves living in. If you don't know Jesus, you can just start by saying, Jesus, I need that. I need some help finding the real. I want you in my life. I want you to fill me with your spirit. Show me a different way to do things. And God's going to help you. I'm not saying I've got it all figured out, but, I'm starting.
We would give the Riot flowers to show our appreciation, but Obadiah's probably allergic. What isn't he allergic to? This is the Riot on Radio U.
Nikki, I got so excited yesterday, and within roughly 4 to 5 minutes went from very excited to very disappointed. Did you see Taxi Chaos yesterday?
I did not. What is it?
I'd never heard of it. Maybe they had announced it before, but Taxi Chaos is a video game that is really just Crazy Taxi.
So Crazy Taxi is this old, what company was it on?
Sega. Sega started it.
Yeah, you can play it on that. Or like if you went to an arcade, it was always in there. Man, I used to love playing Crazy Taxi.
We all did, Nikki. We all did. And so we played Crazy Taxi, and now, you can get it on your phone. Like, it's not hard to get, though your phone is a terrible way to experience it.
And I will say, it's so old, like, it's not the best, but that's not why you were playing it in the first place.
And they haven't licensed all the music either. So what I find funny is going to Crazy Taxi now, it doesn't have the music that was in the original, so it doesn't feel right. And so when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, Nikki and I have got to play this game. So I watched a trailer for it. It looks perfect. And then I watched a bunch of reviews for it, and people hate it.
Well, it's just because it's not the same as Crazy Taxi, or is it just poorly made?
Both.
Okay.
Everyone's just talking about how it's not well made. It's not as fun as it looks. You're not going to like it like you think you're going to like it, et cetera, et cetera. And here was the part that killed me. I was like, all right. You guys are talking trash about this thing, but, talking trash gets clicks, so maybe it's not that bad. Then I looked at how much it costs. It's $30.
Ooh.
And I was just like, look, there is not a dice roll out there that I'm willing to take on $30 when everybody who plays it doesn't like it.
Sure. Well, for this game, it confused people because when this came out in December, Sega was listed as distributing the game in Asia, which then made people wonder, were they a part of this, taxi game? Was Crazy Taxi involved? And then Sega said, no, that was not true. And they had to do a stop it to them to make sure that people knew that they were not supporting this title.
Wait, okay, back up for just a second. When you say in December, do you mean, is that when they announced
Taxi
it?
Chaos? Yeah, when the press release stuff started going for it then.
Okay, because I was like, wait a minute, this, I thought it just came out yesterday. So apparently they announced it in December. I didn't see it then, had no idea it existed until it popped up yesterday, got super excited. And as I said, it was just even when I watched the trailer, I was like, oh. So, I mean, in the 5 minutes, I was peaking in excitement all the way through the trailer. But, man, it was a very harsh, sharp drop off when I got to reviews and pricing.
And for Taxi Chaos, don't fall for it, they're saying. It's just not a very good game. So before you go spend the $30, watch a couple of reviews. That might be all you need, and you don't need to buy it.
Well, I'm looking right here on Steam, which is a place you can buy games for your computer. $8 on the Steam store. And I think it might be $5 on phones. And excuse me, that's Crazy Taxi, not Taxi Chaos.
Using advanced technology, we've digitized and transcoded Obadiah and Nikki into a purely digital format. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
I know that everybody has different things that they like, but I've got to tell you, I just flat out don't understand the home improvement shows, okay? I don't get it.
Hey, easy there.
Well, Nikki, you can answer for your people because especially not Disney Plus. What is it?
Discovery Plus.
Discovery Plus. I mean, I think they have actually renovated the whole world. How are there enough houses for them to keep doing show after show? And it is the same thing. They walk into a place and they're like, well, I don't know. I like this. Well, I like this. Well, let's compromise on this. And then in the middle of the show, there's a big problem. And that problem is like, well, you're not going to believe what we found in the subfloor.
And then they need more money. They have to have more money to finish the rehab of it. Yeah, it's a formula, but it's a nice formula. There's nothing wrong with it.
We found mold.
They need new floors, or it's always they need new windows, or there's some sort of flooding of something.
Look how rotted out this part is. Oh, this isn't as bad as we thought. You're not going to believe what we found in the basement. And then there's always a race at the end. Well, I don't think we're going to make it in time. Cue montage of people doing their job, but to intense music.
And then they finish it at the end. That's it. That's the whole show.
They never have an episode where they're like, well, you know what? They came in, they hated what we did. So we're going to have to redo the whole thing. We're actually in arbitration right now. And so, the rest of this episode will air if we're able to work something. That we never see that. It's always like the lady comes in and starts crying. Oh my gosh. And then every once in a while, producers love this. Man, if they can get the guy to cry, that's like
gold.
sweeps weeks, man. That's just like, you know what? We knew it might be emotional for you, but we actually found your dead great-grandfather's rifle that was given to you by your dad, and we've restored it. And also, here's this note from your grandma about how proud she is of you, and we've hung it on the wall.
Andy says pre-Choby, so I think he agrees with you about the home improvement shows. And then Carrie says, I'm still waiting for them to renovate my house. So Carrie's waiting on that.
Hey, I feel that. What? Come on over. No, I'm not going to provide you a budget for it. You're the one that's making the TV show. You provide me with a budget.
So now what sparks this passion that you're saying with home stuff?
You know what? I was with some people, and it was like, it's compromise. All right, I'll watch the home improvement show. Ha, ha, ha. So, you see all the strings, and I was like, and it's done. So now we can do something else. And then they're like, next episode in 5, 4, 3. You're just like, what is this?
But it's nice. You don't have to think about it. You can just turn it on and enjoy it. You don't have to worry or don't have to follow any storyline, really. It's just easy watching.
Yeah, well, you know what? It seems to me like it's, you know how people are like, we don't want our kids to be babysat by their Xbox or their iPad or whatever. It just feels like how guys babysit their girlfriends. They're like, I'll sit her down in front of this Discovery thing, and then I can go off and do what I want to do for a while. That's what it feels like. And again, it just rolls right into the next episode. So as long as you don't go in and bother her, there's a good chance you can keep playing your Xbox or whatever you want, because they're just going to go ahead and queue up another episode for her.
They'll lose track of time.
You won't have anything to worry about. Mm-hmm.
Well, that sounds like a perfect night, doesn't it? Just perfect.
I see what they're doing. I see it.
How to survive the riot. Do the complete opposite of everything they say. You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
The PlayStation 5 is out now, and by that I mean that it technically exists at retail, not that you could ever pray to buy one. Just so we're abundantly clear on that point, right? You're never getting one. It's just something people talk about, et cetera, et cetera.
Obi's here to give you hope this morning if you're still looking for one.
Now, back in the fall when they launched the PlayStation 5, they said, hey, you will be able to use your PlayStation VR with it, but we're not going to put out any new virtual reality games. Like, we're done with VR. We're not doing VR. They said, the market's not quite there, blah, 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 whatever. Then, yesterday, seemingly out of nowhere, they were like, we love virtual reality. It is so cool. And wait till you see the PlayStation 5 virtual reality headset and custom controller that's coming next year.
Oh, so it'll have its own, even though if you have one of the older ones, it will still work?
Well, okay, that's one of those things where we kind of don't know. So right now, your PlayStation VR headset that you bought for the PlayStation 4 will work with your PlayStation 5 to play PlayStation 4 virtual reality games.
I see. But if it's a PlayStation 5 virtual reality game, no one knows that yet, if it'll work.
Until yesterday, we didn't even know there was such a thing as PlayStation 5 virtual reality. They made it sound as if there was not going to be, and they have changed their mind.
Which they're allowed to do, I guess. I feel like they've been working on this for probably quite some time. It's not like they just make this decision. A lot of that stuff would have been probably planned or in development before this even came out, but maybe they still see a future in it.
Well, that's the part that gets me that I think is kind of frustrating when they're like, oh, we would never do that. We're not doing that. In the meantime, they're
Behind
3 years
scenes.
into developing, this thing that they're saying they're not going to make.
That part feels a little dishonest. Like, I don't know why they'd bother, but all right. So when are they going to give the full details on the PlayStation 5 virtual reality?
They didn't say when we get full details, but they did say that we would probably see it next year, which means that it'll be on sale, I imagine, in 2027 and available for actual purchase sometime in the 2030s.
Good. All right. Well, we have a plan. We have the vision that something might come out eventually in our lifetime.
Well, okay. I didn't say that. I mean,
I hope it's within our lifetime.
There's no guarantee on that. The other thing they announced yesterday is that there are more Sony exclusives, like PlayStation games, that they're going to release on the PC. So last fall, they put Horizon Zero Dawn, which had only ever been playable on a PlayStation 4. That came to the PC. I was dumb enough to buy it and play through it again and loved it. And so they say Days Gone is going to come to the PC sometime this spring.
Worst of the riot. Radio U.
Nikki, where are you with YouTube these days?
I still have the one where I pay to not have ads, and I would say a good portion of what I watch, like show-wise or vlog-wise, comes from YouTube. So that's probably still what I spend the most time with, like if it counts as a streaming service, which, yes, it does.
So, I mean, for me, I would rather get rid of Netflix than YouTube Premium. That's where, that's...
Now, thankfully, we can keep both. We have a whole lot more than that. But yeah, I would keep YouTube still for quite some time. It's what I turn to probably the most, or at least I go through it more often than I go through Netflix stuff.
So how much on average, do you think you spend watching YouTube each day?
Each day, probably maybe 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes, 30 minutes some days.
Okay.
So maybe a few things here or there.
Well, I don't know why they're doing this, but a company called WiseApp in Korea, they're releasing data on like how much time people are using certain services. And they say that in Korea, the average adult, 30 and up is what they're calling an adult. They said that they spend a total of 30 hours or about an hour a day.
Oh, on YouTube?
On their phone watching YouTube, yeah. And so then it got me wondering, like, okay, sure. So then what about Americans? How much time do we spend on YouTube? And they say the average American spends, and this is over the age of 18, spends 24 minutes a day watching YouTube.
Yeah, I think it depends on how many people you follow and like what's your style with it. Because I follow a few people and I like to stay on top of those videos. So I'll check in each day and then go save them to a watch later. And I'll try to get through most. But yeah, I would think maybe, I mean, do you spend like maybe a half hour a day, or is that?
I think that seems about right for me. Because the other thing I will do is, like, there are several channels that I really like and I do watch, but then there are other channels that I just kind of scrub through.
Yeah.
Like gameplay channels or different things like that, where it's not that I'm not interested. It's just that I'm not going to watch that long form. I'm kind of clicking through, looking at a couple things and getting out. So just because somebody posts a 4-hour video doesn't mean I'm watching
that
their
is right.
4-hour video.
I had someone I followed posted a 50-minute video the other day, and I was like, oh, we're gonna have to do the beginning and the end of this, but we're not going to watch the middle. There's just no need. That's a long video.
I will say one of the things I do is sometimes if it's, some YouTube videos, it might just be video of a podcast or like whatever, a lecture even. That's the kind of stuff where I'll do that in my car like it's a podcast.
Yeah, sure.
So I'll just turn the screen off and let it roll.
So the question is now for everybody that we've learned that maybe around 24 minutes for the average for a American that they're putting in on YouTube each day. If you end up getting close to that number, are you going to start feeling bad? Like, I'm watching too much, or you're not watching enough, or now that you have a number, does it make you feel guilty if you spend more time with it?
See, I feel like it's one of those things that now that we've attached a number, some people are going to be like, oh, I feel so much better.
Oh, because they're not spending that much time. I think a lot of people maybe, that seems like a really spot on number. Like, that's about it. That's like, I think if most people were asked, that's probably what everybody's spending on it.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's kind of how I feel about it, where you're like, yeah, I can see that.
And if not,
sure,
just lie about it and say, yeah, that's about the time I spend with it. Sure, 30 minutes.
That's what you want to do. Tell the lies. It's good.
Things are never as bad as they seem, except when it comes to the riot. Then they're worse. They're always worse. It's the Riot on Radio U.
I guess what it really comes down to is I just want to see the post office happy. I just...
You want to see them succeed, right? Even though that's normally when you have UPS or FedEx deliver something and then you get the dreaded notification that they have to deliver it to the post office who will finish it. And it's going to be several more days after it gets passed off to them. But yeah, we hold no hard feelings against it.
Well, Nikki, the reason that they're having such a hard time getting the mail out to you in a timely fashion is because their cars are no good.
Is that it? The post office trucks, I guess, have needed a major overhaul, and they started a design, not necessarily a competition, but to where, companies could go and submit their designs for a new postal service truck back in 2015. They say the ones on the road are not good. They don't have air conditioning. They tend to break down a lot. I always see that happen, where the other mail truck has to come and they have to take out all the mail from the first one and they have to go pick them up. So I guess it is a long time coming where they need new vehicles.
Well, they say that they have decided on the vehicle that they want, and it's from Oshkosh.
Yeah, in Wisconsin.
Yeah, don't they make like overalls and stuff?
No, it's no, I just think because it's in that area in Wisconsin, maybe that's just the name they go with. But I think, isn't that Oshkosh Bagosh or something?
Right,
I think it's the same company, is it?
Are you sure?
I don't know.
Because if I go to Oshkosh.com, I'll tell you what they're trying to sell me.
This is a
children's clothing.
This is a defense contractor, Oshkosh. So if you maybe look them up, it's going to be a gasoline and electric drivetrains. It will not come out until 23, so you have a couple of years. But it'll be the new vehicle, and they have a rendering of it, a concept art for it that you can see.
A lot of people think that it looks like a car from Pixar's Cars.
Yeah.
They say it looks like it has a face, and because the windshield is so big, it looks like it should have eyes, and that it's a collab or just a straight thievery from what do you call it? Cars.
Yeah,
so,
it's thinner and taller with it. So they were supposed to have the post office was supposed to have new vehicles back in 2018. Then they had different deadlines that were not met for manufacturers and the prototypes and stuff. And then COVID happened. That delayed a lot. So now that they've decided on a design for it, it's more of a cargo space. It's got better ergonomics, air conditioning, cameras, so they get to be a little bit more safer. Power front and rear collision avoidance system with audio, visual warnings as well. So it seems like it's updated.
Yeah, it's great. And you know what? Like I said, I want the post office to be happy, though I feel like maybe I should sit down with the Postmaster General and explain to him that it's very exciting to get these new cars, but he might be better off with a slightly used item, because once you drive your mail car off the lot, the value just plummets.
It's just not worth the same. They say that they don't know how many will be gas powered and how many will be electric. They're just going to make both of the vehicles. They'll be designed in a way that they can switch to become electric over time if needed. So that's them.
All right. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll get a new car too, post office. Or, hey, what do you guys do with those old mail trucks?
I know, I was going to say, wait, you can buy one of the older ones. Imagine driving one of those things around. It's kind of like when you see an obvious car that used to be a police car and they don't even take all the sticker stuff off of it. It'll be just like that. They'll know you're driving an old police or a no post office truck.
It's my firewood delivery vehicle.
Worst of the Riot podcast.
Make sure you come over for game night tomorrow.
Ooh, what are we going to play?
Stardew Valley.
Oh, I haven't played that in forever. Oh, I missed that game.
Well, Nikki, there's an all-new Stardew Valley board game that just launched.
Okay, we could do that. What does that look like?
So we play Stardew Valley on a, well, here, I'll send it to you. You take a little look at it. You decide what you think.
Stardew Valley, it's a few years old, but it's basically, similar, kind of like an Animal Crossing, where you go in, you put your time in, you build your farm, you harvest things, that sort of stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Well, it is as a game goes, it is 1 to 4 players. This is the board game. And they say it takes about 45 minutes to play the game. Mm-hmm. And it's a co-op board game. So here, let me read you this. Work together with your fellow farmers to save the valley from the nefarious Joja Corporation. To do this, you'll need to farm, fish, friend, and find all kinds of different resources to fulfill Grandpa's goals and restore the community center.
Now, no offense, Stardew Valley, but I feel like, I don't know when this came out, but it feels like it should have been a few years ago, kind of like during the hot time with Stardew Valley. And also, I don't have enough time to put into the Stardew Valley video game, so I don't know if I have enough time to put into the Stardew Valley, the board game, but we'll see.
I don't know. I mean, 45 minutes to play, that's... for a board game, that's not too bad, right?
It's not bad,
about right.
But it's not like you're supposed to still be having game night, so I don't know. Who are we inviting over to play the board game?
Boy, that's a really good point, right? Well, maybe we're looking at this the wrong way. This really is preemptive because once all these restrictions lift, the board game's going to make a huge comeback.
Okay, then everybody's just
Though some
dying
people
to
would
go.
argue that it never left.
Well, that game nights for a while there became actually pretty popular to do with board games, so it had a surge in popularity again. But yeah, this could be interesting to do. It's only $55, so it's not the worst.
$55. If you keep reading, it says that it is easy to play, but it's meant to be challenging, and so it's something that is Like, it's not an easy game. So this isn't something where you're like, well, my little nephew's coming over. He likes Uno, and we'll play Stardew Valley. That's probably not going to fly. You're going to need a little something else there. So, looks interesting. I still never really got into the actual game itself. But
you did? You played, though, a little bit, though, right?
Oh, I did. I played, probably played for like 5 or 6 hours because I got it on the PC on sale and played, and it's fine.
Which is what are we going to say about this board game if we go and play it? It's fine. That's all it is. It's just fine.
It's fine.
Are people really still listening to the Riot? You don't have work to do or laundry to fold or literally anything else to do? The Riot, Radio U.
The people at Disney are really cashing in on Disney Plus. And one of the things they even said, starting off the year or wrapping up last year, they're like, hey, we're still going to make movies, but we're going to really get focused on building our streaming empire.
Well, they see a real need for us desiring new weekly content, not just a movie here or there, but actually getting, which was Disney Plus's kind of like negative thing in the beginning. There wasn't a whole lot of content that was coming out new, but I think they realized that we really want to see new stuff as much as possible.
So what's going on here is my writing hero, a Mr. Ronald D. Moore, one of the producers and writers responsible for bringing Battlestar Galactica back like 15, 20 years ago, and also now one of the writers and producers on For All Mankind.
So another Obi favorite.
Dun, dun, dun.
So what they might be creating could be possibly the perfect show for you.
Yeah, maybe. So here's the idea. Disney Plus is launching. It's going to be a while. They're just getting started on it, but they're coming up with basically a Disney connected universe that will revolve around the Magic Kingdom. And as I understand it, that literally means the theme park. Mm-hmm. And so what Ronald Moore has been hired to do is to start with the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, which is a show he'll write and produce. But then they are also going to be building out other shows, and all of these shows will tie together in one universe.
So instead of like the Marvel universe, this will be called the Magic Kingdom TV universe.
That's correct. Though I'm sure they'll come up with a better name, right?
Magic
I bet
Kingdom
that's
TV
universe.
Yeah, that's probably all it's going to be.
So they say that Society of Explorers and Adventurers is a fictional organization of the same name that's part of Disney theme park lore. I'm not really up on my theme park lore these days, but I'm sure somebody out there just went, oh my gosh.
Someone excited about that. The themed lands, characters of Disney parks, and classic films that'll exist in another reality. So they are working on like a Swiss Family Robinson series, so that could be a part of things. But basically, it's just going to be more stuff centered around the Magic Kingdom characters and world. And, again, possibly, I'm sure trying to push you to want to go to Magic Kingdom somewhere in there. But it looks interesting. Well, it looks like it'll be something different.
Disney's an interesting company because you think about it, what do they want? They want connected to you as much as possible, to the point that you plan your vacations around them, you watch them on TV, and when it's time to buy a toaster, you're buying a toaster from them. Okay? Maybe even while you're on vacation at the Magic Kingdom.
Pretty much. So that's some of the details that they announced for it, but it looks like Disney has a lot of stuff reported to be coming to make you happy that you pay into Disney Plus.
Yeah, so I don't know who said it, but I think it's really good. They said that Disney is not in the business of making movies. They're in the business of making money.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
All right, guys, I did it. Today's the day. It's coming today. I ordered a router.
You did?
I did.
So with all that talk earlier, you already had ordered something to try.
No. I tried it. When we had all that talk,
yeah,
I went ahead and ordered it.
Oh, okay. So Obi's trying to work out his Wi-Fi at his house, for broadcasting from there, and just everybody's spending more time. Everybody's super unhappy with all their Wi-Fi setup, so you're going to try something new.
Yep. So it was an Amazon thing where they were like, we'll deliver it today. And I was like, okay.
So are you gonna set
said
it
free returns
if you don't want it? Are you gonna set it up today, or are you gonna, like sometimes that doesn't go well. So I just want to make sure you pick the right day.
It just depends on what time it gets here. Like if it shows up in the afternoon and I've got time, sure. Like why not? I'll set it up, and it's nice. I saw the look you just gave Chris. I saw it.
No, we were just, thinking, I'm sure it'll go just fine. It'll go well. You're gonna.
I saw the look that you gave him.
You're gonna have a great time.
I'll be able to put everything back together. And something I am a little excited about with this thing is that it actually has. It is not just an access point. It's a router, and so it's got 8 gigabit ports built into it. Who just got excited right here? So it should be. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Same day delivery, yay!
Wow!
Oh, what a big day!
Don't ask me what it was or what I paid. You don't care that much. So,
in case you're wondering, yes, we do get complaints.
They have gone too far. This time, they are going to be held accountable.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Who knows what Frogger is? Anybody? Anybody at all? Anyone?
Are we supposed to ribbit if you know, or text, yeah?
I don't know. Frogger is, Nikki, back in the day, was like a pretty popular arcade game where the idea is you have a little frog and you help it cross the street, but that's not all. You also had to help it cross the river, and the river had crocodiles and some red things. I don't know what the red things are, but I assume they're bad. And I think you could jump on the crocodile's back, but not into his mouth. Is that okay? Not exactly a Frogger aficionado, but they are turning Frogger into, and I quote, a fierce and ridiculously fun competition, 12 outrageous obstacle courses or crossings. These physically demanding challenges will see contestants dodge treacherous traffic. That doesn't feel like a good idea.
Well,
leap over snapping gators and hop over hungry hippos.
So it's going to be a hour-long Frogger TV.
Hour-long?
Yeah, I know. And it's going to be for...
That's a long time.
It'll be for Peacock, I think. So NBC's going to have it, but I don't know if it'll be on NBC on like the network. I think it will just be on Peacock. So there'll be a cash prize for the winner of Frogger. It feels like... What was the one from a few years ago? Like Wipeout? Wipeout used to be a show on ABC. Yeah. And then what was the really big one for Netflix? The lava one. The Everything's Lava, or The Floor's Lava. That game. The
Floor's Lava.
That show did so well for Netflix. So it seems like a bit of a combination of both of those.
I didn't watch that. Did you watch that show?
Oh, I watched like the first few minutes. I did not feel like it was really good, but if you liked it, a lot of people did. Because again, that show did so well for them. So maybe Peacock's trying to cash in on a contest show like those.
Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you what my problem is. I really don't mean to be smug, but I'm just being honest. I got into the original Japanese version of Ninja Warrior for a while, and I watched it and watched it and watched it. And I know they did American Ninja Warrior, and I watched that a little bit, but I just, of course, liked the Japanese one better, right?
Well, that was next level. That's impressive to watch.
That's just what they all kind of fall in that same category, those kind of like physical challenge type shows. And that was the one I got into, and I haven't been able to cross over into caring about any of the other ones. And so, yes, I also liked the British Office better than the American Office. You feel the smugness? Do you feel it?
So
I don't mean to be. It's just who I am.
They don't have any other further details, but that'll be a new game show, like a physical game show, Frogger on Peacock.
Yeah, the only other thing I've got to throw out, and again, it's going to sound smug, but I'm just being honest, I don't like what's on NBC. So if you have a show that you're like, it's not quite good enough for NBC, we'll put it on Peacock, that's not good.
Yeah, but they're still at the point where they're trying to get more subscribers, so they're making exclusive content over there in hopes that you will... I know Peacock's free, but they have a paid version.
Ish.
Yeah, so they want you to go over there and pay for it.
Hey, Nikki. You going to go over there and pay for it?
No.
The Riot Podcast. Radio U.
You know, Nikki, it's not just baby powder. Johnson & Johnson makes a lot of different products for a lot of different things, including their COVID-19 vaccine.
They say, is that supposed to be out like around April, I think? That's the one I'm most interested in, even though our age and stuff, we are a long ways away from being able to be eligible for anything.
Well, you can get it. What makes their vaccine seem the most attractive is that it's a single shot. So instead of having to have an opener and a closer, you know what? It's a more intimate setting where you're just going to get one shot. One band, no openers, no encores. It's just you and them, acoustic. It's a really nice set.
And I think it's been a while since I read about it, but it has a different protein wrapped around it for its delivery during your body. So if you tend to get a lot of allergic reactions to items, a lot of people are concerned about reactions to the other COVID stuff. This delivery device is less likely to have an allergic reaction because you're really actually getting a reaction to how it's being delivered throughout your body, not necessarily what is being delivered in your body.
So they are saying that it has been tested and is quote unquote appeared safe and effective in trials in the U.S. and in a few other countries. And so it is not approved yet, but they say that it will most likely be approved by the end of the week.
And do you get like a free bottle of shampoo or something? With a free Johnson & Johnson product if you go and get the shot?
As long as it's no more tears.
Yeah.
That's what they get. That's what they give you. They're like, here's your shot and no more tears. Now this is going to make you feel a lot better. No need to cry, okay?
So I wonder what the timeline is. If they say it could get approved by the end of this week, so then when is the turnaround on when you actually see it as being an option?
I don't know. I don't know.
And so if anybody's had the vaccine, like, do you get to go and pick which one you want? Because I know there's a couple, but is it just you go here and like they only carry this one, or if you go there, are they only doing that one, or can you ask for the one that you want to have?
I don't know the answer to that. My guess is beggars can't be choosers. You get what you get. You don't throw a fit. I feel like that's probably the kind of conversation that you're having when you get there.
Again, that's why we want the no more tears.
At all. Yeah, like the fact that you're getting vaccinated at all, they're just like, it's a miracle this is even here for you.
So I guess we'll have to see how that actually rolls out and works then with having choices.
Yeah, but they say it's highly likely that we are going to see this approved at the end of the week. And then as for distribution, yeah, I don't have an answer for that. So they do say that once you get it, it takes about 14 days for it to kick in. So even though it's a one shot, it's not like you're going to get the shot on Tuesday and on Wednesday you're a COVID tank. You're going to have to wait 14 days for it to reach its efficiency or efficacy, I believe is the word I want there. So
thanks for listening to the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Oh no, I missed it. Do it again.
You can hear us live every day on the RadioU network through the RadioU app or at riot.radiou.com.
I got my tonsils out and they also got my gender bias out.